to Between Two Spokes, the channel about riders, motorcycles, and the gear they wear. My name is Craig, and I want to thank you for tuning in. I realize there are plenty of channels that dig into the technical details on motorcycle specs and products. However, I found greater value in learning more about the riders, their journeys, and why they chose their bikes and gear. That is what this channel is about. I'll be having great one-on-one conversations, and I'm inviting you along for the ride. So let me start with a little background on myself. I've had my license for about 30 years. However, I was reintroduced to riding about 3 years ago by a good friend of mine. He was showing me his new adventure bike and talked about the trips he was planning, and I immediately got hooked. I then had to do considerable research on helmets, jackets, pants, gloves, boots, as it was a large investment. As I became more comfortable on the open road, I branched out to the rallies, meeting with fellow riders and learning more about their journeys. And that's when I realized there should be a forum for riders, their profiles and their stories. So let's start by taking a few minutes and talk about my ride. Behind me here is a 2020 BMW R1250GS. I purchased it from a good friend of mine, Mike. This was the actual bike he was talking about taking those journeys on. He then branched off to 2 other motorcycles. But let's talk about this one. When I bought it from Mike, it actually had the Touratech Crashbars, as you can see here, painted black. It matches the bike really well. He did dump it, but that was in the grass, so there's no real tear-ups in that regard. I love it. I feel confident that it falls over, it's going to protect the bike. I did have to invest in a Garmin. It didn't have one when I purchased it, so I got the Garmin Zumo XT, and then I purchased the Touratech locking device that holds it in place. Not the most glamorous product I've ever seen, but it does allow it to lock, and I can leave it in there feeling safe at nighttime when I'm in a rally or parked at a hotel. I can leave it in there locked. It works all right. I then went ahead and purchased the Quadlock wireless charging device. It's hooked up to the handlebars, and I've got it wired and plugged in over here. I'll probably move it off the bike eventually because I find it distracting now. I've got full GPS anyways. I was just using my phone originally as GPS. For storage, I was kind of back and forth about what to do, about whether I store things in my coat or on the bike. I find this to be very convenient. I was at rally a couple of years ago, the BMW rally down in Richmond, and the good folks at SW-Motech had a tent. I checked all the different levels of products they have, and I went with this Motech Engage bag. It's pretty big. It's probably a little bigger in retrospect. I may have gone a notch smaller, but I do love the products. It holds a lot. It's got about between 7 to 11, I think, liters of storage inside. Good for gloves, my phone, bottle of water, whatever the case is. And with the tank bag, the ring lock on top of the tank, it actually removes really easily. There are lots of sites that talk about the details on these products. Please hit them up. And there's actually going to be links down below as well if you'd like to purchase them. The biggest investment, I think, from my perspective on the bike was the Denali Lights. The reason for that was actually that same rally. I'm riding down to Richmond with my friend Mike, and I'm in front of him at one point, and I can see him for miles behind because of his daytime running lights. So while at the rally, I went to the Denali tent and spoke to the guys. They used to be able to put them on your bike, but now they don't stock all that stuff. And it was a matter of looking at the different products, purchasing what I wanted, and then they'd ship it to my house free of charge. So I ended up going with the Denali D3s down below for daytime running lights, and the D7s up top. I also coupled that with the sound bomb. So I removed the old horn, and there's actually a Denali sound bomb horn underneath here. All of which I watched, again, lots of websites to show you how to do an install. That's not what this is about, but I will tell you that I've been nothing but happy with them. I put them on before going to a rally a couple of years ago, and on the way back, well, the rally, it rained the whole time. It was a couple of years back for the BMW rally in Somerset. It rained the entire time we were there, and then it rained the entire time back. And I was going through an intersection, and I will tell you this, it was a life-changing event for me. I'm going through the intersection, and I've got this rig now with the CAN bus that when I hit my lights, the horn goes off, and all the lights blink all at once, and everybody in that intersection stopped. They knew I was there. I don't do a lot of driving, and certainly not a lot of driving at nighttime, but when this thing went off, they all knew I was there, and that was peace of mind. So that was well worth the price of all of that. In terms of recording what I'm doing, I have a GoPro mounted on the helmet, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And I also sometimes will have one on my handlebars, so to speak, that point back up at me for kind of B-roll footage. But we'll talk more about that when we get into the helmet and gear that I wear. Mosko-Moto. So there's a lot of choices for bags out there. You can go hard shell, soft shell, some with a bracketing device, or you just clip them on. I went with Mosko-Moto for a couple of different reasons. First of all, if I fall over, I want something soft to break that fall and to protect the bike. They are bulletproof. The reviews out there are awesome. There are people that take these things off, these bags, all the way around the world, and they are just bulletproof. I like the size of them. They're not too heavy when I load them up. And if I go away for a weekend, it's just enough clothing and gear to pack in there. Last but not least is the tires. So again, lots of choices out there. I watched infinite number of hours on tire reviews, and they're very technical and very specific. For my riding, I live in Northern Virginia, and I don't have a trailer as of yet, but I have to drive somewhere to get off-road. So I had to go with something that was a hybrid tire, and I went with the Dunlop Trailmax tires. Again, there's lots of reviews out there, but I will tell you my personal review is that it is phenomenal for both ride and off-road. There is no, reverberation from the knobs in the center channel of the tire while I'm riding on the road. And as soon as I go off-road, those lugs can bite, and I can kick it in and it will just go where I want it to go. So that's the review on that stuff. So let's switch to the actual gear I'm wearing. So we'll start with the helmet. That is the Arai XD4. I think now there's an XD5. I love the helmet for a number of different reasons. I tried the showy helmet, modular clip up. However, I found that to be very heavy. Yes, your face is open, but as soon as you come down, I feel a little claustrophobic, to be honest. But when I flip it up, I felt a lot of weight on the top of my head. So I sent that helmet back, and I went with the Arai. It's very lightweight. It also has great field of vision. So very similar to a full off-road motorcycle helmet. I love it. It's got lots of venting. It's got the visor over top. So if I am slowing down to like 20, 30 miles an hour, the sun isn't hitting me in my eyes. And I've heard some comments about wind buffering with that visor, but because this doesn't have much of a shield. But if you keep your helmet down within the bubble, I have not had an issue with that at all. Maybe if I'm doing 70 miles an hour on the highway, will I feel something if I let the visor lip up, go above the windscreen, but not really. That being said, on the helmet itself, I've got a SENA. It's a SENA 50R with the open mesh. So Mike, my buddy Mike and I, who ride together a lot, who got me into the sport, you'll hear his name a lot. But we went out and shopped for comms. And there's lots of choices, and it's either Cardo or SENA for the most part. We went with SENA. They had a bundle where you could get two not for the price of one, but two together with considerable savings. So he got one, I got one, we hooked them up. Pretty easy to install, nothing to it. I then bought the GoPro. So I used to have a GoPro on the top. I had a GoPro Mini on the top of my head, which I kind of felt like a Teletubby, and it was kind of catching a little bit of wind. And I didn't like the way that was recording for some of the trips I've taken. So I went with the full-on GoPro Hero12 with the screen connected to my chin. It's not there right now, but you can see right here, it just sits on the front. It gets great footage. It gets great windscreen footage and handlebar footage. So if I move my way down, I wear climb gear. So go figure, spoiler, middle-aged guy buying extensive gear. So I went with the Klim Carlsbad for a couple different reasons. Yes, it's heavy, but I ride from April through October, so I need something that's relatively lightweight, but also if I do get caught in the cold, which I have, then it's nice to have the extra strength. It's breathable, it's Gore-Tex, it's got tons of pockets, lots of modularity on it. I also have the matching pants, which are amazing. It's got D30 level 2 armor all throughout, so it's pretty heavy when you load it up. But it's fully ventilated, and I would say if I'm riding up to like 80 degrees, it's not too bad. I do have another set of Klim gear, the Baja, which I'll do in another session, which is completely fully mesh, which I took on a trip to Portugal last year, because when you're stopped in 90 degree weather, you want that. I love this stuff. I can't say enough about it. Again, there'll be links down below if you want to click on and look at it from a product perspective. And last but not least, I went with Sidi boots. Again, lots of choices out there. I wanted something that was good for adventure, but also comfortable. I watched a lot of reviews. Everybody loved these boots. They're full lug. They're very comfortable, even though they look big and bulky. They do fit nicely underneath the pants, so I actually wear the pants over that. There's lots of protection if you fall down. There's ankle protection, and I've seen that at work on a friend of mine who did fall over and his ankles. This has got lots of protection there. Great boot, fully ventilated. They breathe well. They are waterproof because I've been caught in rain. I drove back from a rally in rain for hours, and these were wonderful. Great boot, can't say enough about them. Okay, so wrapping up, I know that was a lot to ingest, and I got that done all in one take, so very stoked about that. I want to thank you for watching. This is the first episode, season 1. I've got a lot of learning to do. I'm going to pivot, of course, in the format, the content. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. Comment if you want to make comments, and I'll take that to heart. Or email me at betweentwospokes@gmail.com. The first season, there'll probably be about 8 episodes, released about once a month. I'll start with my posse of guys that I met at the Highland group in Somerset, the BMW rally that is. So that'll be season 1, but for season 2, if you're interested in being a part of this, it's real simple. I come to your house, we record for less than an hour, talk about yourself, talk about your motorcycle, your gear. We get all that recording done, I give you your gift card for your time, and we move on. So I want to thank you again for checking in. Again, this was Craig from Between Two Spokes, and look forward to seeing you on the open road. Thank you very much.